Welcome to Season 4 of My Dental Hygiene School Experience. I am Dax Ska, a dental assistant and dental hygiene student, sharing what my experience is like on my journey to becoming a registered dental hygienist. Stay tuned for another episode right now. What's up, dental nerds? This is Dax Ska, dental student, dental hygiene student, dental assistant, and future hygienist. So, this week I'm talking about week 2 of semester 3, and first of all, I just want to say it's starting to get a little bit more like summer, which makes my drive a lot nicer because, I just feel good when the sun's on my face, and, as long as you have air conditioning while you're driving, not too bad. So even if you're stuck in traffic, at least you're not like in the rain or in the snow, something like that. We get all sorts of weather here, so sometimes you just don't know what to expect. But the drive has been really good so far. I'm starting to get used to it. But other than that, not much else is going on outside of hygiene school, and that's kind of how things are. I'm working 1 day a week at my office, so it's kind of a huge switch to go from, dental hygiene, all that stuff, focus on schoolwork, and then switch gears dramatically to okay, let's do our daily job, this thing that you've been doing for the past year that you know how to do quite well. So in a way, when you do the same thing over and over again and you get good at it, then it's kind of an ego boost, especially when in school just feels like no one knows what they're doing, and even if you feel like you know what you're doing, you really don't. So I'm sure any of you that are in hygiene school know the feeling. So let me talk about clinic. It's been good so far. I mentioned last time that I have a patient that has open availability, so I've already seen him a few times. I got my first appointment with him after the screening appointment. So in my school, we do a screening appointment. That does not count as a patient of record. This is just to kind of do a quick assessment, no x-rays, very, very minimal. Well, this time I saw him as a actual patient, so we did the full health history, we did x-rays, we did a pano, started the whole evaluation process. And so, of course, I'm back and I want to prove myself, and so I'm like, okay, I'm going to get things done, and honestly, I got through my appointment and got a lot done. I was quite happy with myself. And the other thing that makes it more challenging for me is the fact that I'm trying to remember stuff from a year ago. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I haven't studied the process as much as I should. Like when I took the pano, I didn't look up how to take a pano. I remember there's like the Frankfurt plane, if you're familiar with that. So I kind of lined that up. And, for not having taken a pano in a year, it turned out quite well. It was a little flat, the smile line. You want to have like a slight curve. Didn't have that. But overall, it's really good. In the endo office where I work at, we don't take panos. We take CBCTs, so that's like a 3D scan. And it's similar, but in a way also very different because there's a completely different process to get the patient aligned for the picture, and then it varies from machine to machine. So for taking a pano, I'm just quite happy with how that turned out. And then, going through all the paperwork, I have a book, we have a clinical notebook that we're allowed to keep at our operatory, and we can reference it throughout the appointment. And I go back to my notes and check things out, but sometimes the notes that I have are not super thorough. And so if you've been doing it all the time, you don't need that level of detail. But when it's been a while, it kind of helps to have a little bit more detail. So I referenced it a lot, tried to work from memory a lot. Something I noticed is using a perio probe. I haven't done that in a year. And I thought, I got muscle memory. This is good. This is fine. And so for one of the appointments, I did an observation for a perio probe. And so this is where the instructor will watch me use a perio probe, and they can give me feedback during and after the assessment. And that's great. So if you, I mean, as long as they do the observation and you do a halfway decent job, they will sign off one of your requirements for it. So I did that. And one thing they were saying is, oh, make sure you go up on your fulcrum, go down on your fulcrum. Uh, I kind of forgot about that, and, where to position the chair, because to different parts of the mouth, you want your chair, either 9 o'clock or 12 o'clock, sometimes 10 or 11, depending on what part of the mouth you're at. So I ran into a few parts of the mouth where I just wasn't sure where to go with it. So basically, I need to review all my instruments. I also did an observation for my Explorer. So it's an exploring. I use my 1112. It's my favorite one to use, if that doesn't sound nerdy enough to have a favorite Explorer. But I did an observation on that one, and it kind of went how it should for someone who hasn't used one in a year. I do remember I had practiced before, a week before, on a Typodon, and one of the instructors showed me, oh, you need to remember sides towards, sides away, and I'm like, that's what I'm missing. And then another instructor reminded me to relax the thumb. That's also very important because it helps with, tactile sensation and, that kind of stuff. So I thought after those two bits of feedback, I was like, oh, yeah, I've got this. And the instructor did, when they did the observation, like, I did well, but, there's still some work that needs to be done. I think that for remembering as much as I am, I'm happy with it, but at the same time, it's not like I've been doing it for the past year. So I'm trying to have a balanced view of how I look at things. There's one part where I get frustrated because I used to know how to do this quite well, and now I'm not at that level anymore. And it's kind of one of those things, if you don't use it, you lose it. And you know what? I've lost it to some degree. So, I just think that it'll be important to focus on learning how to use instruments again. I'm going to work with an instructor. I can audit the class that they learn the different instrumentation. So that way I can get up my skill. I can get more feedback. That way I don't have to use another instructor's time when they're, between classes. But overall, I'm actually quite happy with how I did. So the first session, I feel like things went really smoothly. I got really far in the appointment. The second appointment with the same patient, I didn't get as much done, and I was a little discouraged, because I feel like I didn't have that same momentum. I kind of ran into a few more blocks in terms of, getting stuck somewhere, not sure how to proceed with something. So, whenever I'm waiting for an instructor, I do what I can. This is something that I'm learning, again, is very important. So if you're stuck, there are certain things that you can do, proceed without the instructor's okay. So for me, there are certain stopping points throughout the appointment. If an instructor's not available, and sometimes they won't be available for 20 plus minutes, I need to be able to use that time wisely. So I can use that time to ask the patient questions, because we have risk assessments and dental health care plans to fill out. So I can use the time for that. Probably paperwork is not the best use of time, just because some of that you can fill out when the patient's not there. And, so use that time. You want to focus on things that you have to have the patient in the room for you to proceed with. So for me, when I was doing perio charting, I was able to get all the numbers, but then I had to review MEG and NEG. So minimally attached gingiva and non-attached gingiva. And I just had to review that because I don't remember if I learned that thoroughly before, and I had to kind of figure out the formula for it. Now that I've been reviewing it with an instructor, I'm like, it actually makes a lot of sense. It's not so vague, for lack of a better word. I understand it now. So, although I didn't get as much done on the second session with that patient, I spoke with a few classmates, and I'm really not that far behind. I'm still doing quite well. I'm just comparing myself to the myself of the end of semester 3 last time. And in a way, that's not really fair. I need to give myself more grace. I have to remember the skills that I'm working on. They haven't been used in a while. They're rusty. It's going to take some time to loosen that rust and get back up to speed. But, as they say, the more you do something, the easier it gets, and the more skilled you'll be at it. So that's kind of all that for clinic. I know it will be about 2 weeks before I see that patient, so I'm going to be seeing another patient on the following clinic session, and then the session after that we're doing another screening day. The first screening day we only needed one patient. This one we need two, and I'm trying not to stress out because I still need one more patient, and I hope I find one. I'm still looking for ways to find another patient. It helps if you're local. You have more interaction with people in the community. I'm not local, so there's that challenge. But I still have some time. I still have a few days before I need to find that patient. So I will kind of, instead of stressing about it, I will work on my resources, what I have to work with. Anyway, moving on. So I had perio class. So this was my first perio class. I was not required to go to the first one. It was just kind of a overview of the general structure of the gingiva, the periodontium, all that. But there was a quiz, and the instructor would like me to do the quizzes for the class, which I'm like, that's fair. I need to be able to prove to myself, at the very least, that I can remember the information, that it's still in my brain. I did study with some classmates just before before the quiz, and that was very helpful. I don't know what grade I got on it. Because I'm not doing this class for a grade, I don't even know if I can see the result of it. I know I didn't get 100% or anything. Like, I'm not a wonderkind, It's been a year. But I did quite well considering that I didn't really study. I tried to, but my brain was not having it. So it's good for me to know that the information's still there. Obviously, I need to review a few more things, but I'm feeling pretty good about it. So I'll still be doing the quizzes and all that. Perio, that's kind of the whole thing of what dental hygiene is about. So this is obviously a very important class. It's also heavy on boards for obvious reasons. So, I'm glad that I'm taking it again. It'll be very helpful for me. I know part of my mind is like, retaking these classes, even though I already passed them, is just kind of, my brain is having trouble reconciling that. But at the same time, if I look at it from a different perspective, I will only benefit from retaking these classes. It will make me a stronger student. I'll have that knowledge down pat by the end of the semester. So really, other than the fact that I have to make extra trips to school, I have to stay later, other than that, I think it's a very good thing. So it's very interesting. I think I said in the last episode that I don't say too much in the class. I do feel like I don't want to be the know-it-all student, but I feel like I should maybe participate a little bit more. Part of it is I'm just getting to know my class, so I haven't had a chance to really sit down and get to know them. They've been super nice so far, so it's good to see people, and I'm still trying to learn everyone's names. I feel kind of bad because it's I remember 3 people's names, and then I see someone and I'm like, hey, when you're like, hey, you. So I'm working on it. I will, by probably in a couple weeks, I'll have everyone's name in my mind, and I'll just be like, hey, so and so. No hesitancy. Anyway, yeah, I didn't have to go to farm class this week. So, yeah, or did I? I don't remember now. See, this is why you have to make notes throughout the week, because all the days blend together. And, that's normal for hygiene school. It's such an intense program that it's just kind of one big whirlwind. So on the weekends, I want to make sure that, for me, I'm taking time for a little self-care. So making sure that I'm getting enough sleep, which, that can be a challenge in itself. So right now I'm saying no to a lot of things in my life. So not really doing any extracurriculars. I was hoping this semester I wouldn't have to sacrifice so much of my personal life, but it seems that's the way that things are going. And that's okay because, like I said in the beginning, this is an investment. So I'm investing my time now, and if I invest my whole self and immerse myself in the dental hygiene world, when I'm done and I can do whatever I want, I will be a strong dental hygienist, and I'll make good money hopefully, and then it's less stress for me overall, and I can do whatever I want. So if I want to, take music lessons or just do something completely unrelated, I will have that freedom. So that doesn't necessarily happen unless I go through the program and do all that stuff. So anyway, I want to leave on an encouraging note that yes, hygiene school is difficult, but it's something that you can do. It's doable. There are people that have gone through this program several times over, and if they can do it, so can you. And, don't give up. It's tough. It's going to seem really impossible at times, but keep going. The thing is, failure is when you give up. When you keep going, even if you don't pass a class, the fact that you keep going, that is success. When you learn from your mistakes, that is success. So if you're doing a competency and you don't pass, that's okay, because you will have another chance to take it again. And, if you plan things ahead, you will have time for that. Anyway, keep going. You guys are doing awesome. I'm sure of it. And if you're listening to this podcast, I'm sure that you're nerdy enough that, you like school. And, well, I shouldn't say you like school because, hygiene school is a different thing. But I'm just saying that your interest is enough in the dental world that I think you'll do fine. Anyway, have a good week. I'll be back next week with more content. It's going to get busier. I'm adding more classes in, so just to get my skills back up to speed. And have a great week. Y'all take care. Stay nerdy. I'll see you later. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my podcast. I appreciate your support on this journey, and until next time, I'm Dax Scott.